delinquent accounts for collection through Kern County tax roll on Tuesday, June 22nd. It is 6:02 p.m. when we're called to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of
United
the United
States of
States
America
of America
and to the republic
and to the republic
for which it
which
stands,
stands
one nation,
one nation
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty
with
and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Here.
Director Gibson,
Here,
Director Kelly,
Here.
Director Nyman's here, Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. Number two, just welcome to everybody who's here tonight. This is a public hearing on our proposal to submit delinquent accounts for collection through the Kern County tax rolls. And I think that includes the number three explanation proposed assessment. Is there the total assessment fees, unless it's changed, and Tiffany can do number three, is $10,491.91. Is there anything you'd like to add, Tiffany?
Yeah, we had one additional payoff. So right now the total is $9,995.19.
Okay, so that's the proposed amount to submit these delinquent accounts to the Kern County tax roll for collection. Okay. Number four, presentation list of affected parcels and amount of delinquent fees and charges thereon. Basically, all the APN numbers are listed on the list. I don't think we have to list them off here, do we, Tiffany?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. And being that we'd be going from the, yes, is there
Yeah, the APNs have also been published.
yes, and the APMs have been published. So, so now number five, open hearing for public participation. Is there any protest or any questions from the public at this time? Okay, hearing no objections or anything. At 6, we are now closing public participation portion of the hearing. 7, discussion vote on submitting the delinquent accounts for collection through the Kern County tax roll. I would entertain a motion that we submit this list of delinquent accounts to the Kern County. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. I move that we submit the delinquent accounts for collection through the Kern County tax roll.
Okay, do I hear
The list as published.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Terry Kelling has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Sorry, I went out of order. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried 5-0-0. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I will make a motion that we adjourn the public hearing meeting.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Director Kelling, second that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, this public hearing is adjourned at 7 PM. And so at this time, it's the same, we're on the same one. Good. We don't have to go out and come in. So, okay, welcome. So now, welcome to the Fraser Public Utility District Special Meeting Agenda for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021, which is immediately following the public hearing. It is now 6:07 PM. We are called to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance
pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
To the
to
flag
the flag
of the
the
United
of the United
States of
States of
America,
America. The Republic
and to
for
the
which it
republic
stands,
to the
the
republic
republic
which it
for
stands,
for
which
which it
it stands,
stands,
the
one
one nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice
liberty
for
and
all.
justice for all.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Here,
Director Gibson,
Here,
Director Kelling,
Here.
Director Nyman's here, Director Schoenberg.
here,
Okay, 500. We have a quorum. 2, a discussion vote, adjust agenda if necessary. I don't think anything needs to be adjusted unless anybody has anything.
negative.
Okay, 3, are there any public comments at this time? Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Okay, hearing no public comments. 4, discussion vote on remediation of high nitrate levels at well 5. A, discussion vote on quote from Bakersfield well and pump.
All right, well, we'll do, yeah. So the first thing is, I'm sure everybody knows from my emails that we had a high nitrate level. It was higher when we retested. We believe that, well, we know that somebody's septic tank or septic tanks are leaking in the area and it's infiltrating into the well. It could be that we got another hole in the casing and it's letting the shallow water with nitrates into the well. So over the weekend, the field crew worked all weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we were passing out notices for nitrates. We were trying to get that done so we could turn well 5 back on. We got to a critical level where we couldn't keep up with well 6 couldn't keep up with the demand of the whole town. So I paid a water hauler, I hired a water hauler. He came in, and for $2,700, he hauled with 2 trucks all day Saturday. I believe, yeah, Saturday, and then 1 truck on Sunday. And luckily enough, Jessica down at Lebec sold us the water. Since then, one of her wells went down, some kind of mechanical failure. So it kind of worked out. We got the water just in time. Then we were able to put the well back on, and now we're actually caught up. The whole system is caught back up with the 2 wells running, so we're doing okay. But we still have the water issue. So
Right.
The thought is initially we're going to have a 2-pronged attack on it. One, we need to approve this quote from Bakersfield Well and Pump, and what that's going to do is lower the pumping level, lower the bowls another 100 feet deeper. So hopefully the nitrates coming in through the top will be diluted and blended down to a more manageable level to pump. So that would be one form of blending. This 13,651.40 was based on 100 feet, lower than 100 feet. After a discussion with Dee, who's come up to meet me twice to help us with this issue, we feel like it should go down to 25 more feet. So it's going to be increased by another 25 feet, however that works out. So you would have to vote on it and approve it for that additional 25 feet, because we want to get as close to the bottom without hitting the bottom as we can to try to get more mixture. So I have that issue, and then I have one more thing. So if you guys want to discuss this part first, and then I'll go to the
I had one
blending.
question. How much are they charging us for the water from Lebec?
I don't know. I haven't gotten the invoice from them yet. I still have to get the invoice from them, but I'm sure it's going to be fair, and I'm sure that we're darn grateful. I'm darn grateful that we even got it.
Well,
Because
no,
like I
I'm
said-
not, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I-
we shouldn't be, but I mean, I just want to make sure maybe we negotiate, in the depending on what it comes in at, if it's too high, we need to negotiate maybe with them. Hopefully they'll be fair with it. I mean, I don't know what, does Pam, do you remember what you
I
guys?
think you're out of order right now because we're talking about a vote on the
Yeah,
Bakersfield
yeah.
wall and.
Well,
and-
it's part of the discussion. He just.
I understand that, but it's 7 and 8 on our agendas, talking about hauling water and purchasing water.
I was given the update.
I'm in a meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know you were giving the update, but I'm just saying it's not, it's
Oh, no,
off.
I
okay.
agree. Yeah.
All right,
so-
all right, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
have a question on agenda on number 4.
Okay, go ahead. Director
And
Goldberg.
that is, does this need to go out for bid, or are we gonna try to submit this as an emergency job so that, I mean, it is, but,
Well, I'll update. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I reached out to 2 different pump companies, Farm Pump and Bakersfield Well and Pump. Neither one of them thought that they had a rig available. They're still, it looks like the rig is 3 weeks out. But the more troubling part of it is the getting the parts that we need. So when they started looking for parts, Farm Pump has yet to respond to me, even when I sent another email asking for his quote. So right now, Bakersfield Well and Pump talked to one of their suppliers, the only one that had these parts, and says that we have to make a decision tonight. So tomorrow he could purchase the parts before they're gone. Otherwise, the lead time on the parts is going to be longer.
2
It's
months.
going to take, and then the rig is still 2 or 3 weeks out. But if he purchases the parts before they're gone, then they could sit there in the yard until they get the rig freed up to come and lower the poles.
what's the total
Okay.
again? Is it 10,000 for, before it has to go out to bid?
It's 13,000. Oh, well, no, well, we went with Unified and it was, well,
No,
we had
the
more bidders on that.
question
The initial potholing, just let me finish. The initial potholing for Wolf Tank that we had done, I believe that was like $15,000. And because it's an emergency, we were able to do it.
Right, but we had to do all kinds of wording for that. So my question is, what is the amount that we can go up to before it has to go out to bid? I can't remember. The reason I'm asking that is that I believe we need special wording. It's not that we can't do an emergency, vote
Repair.
on this. It's
Yeah, I
that you
agree. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an emergency. So I guess if you guys, I don't know how we would get that wording again for the meeting tonight, but since nobody else is
Does
interested,
Dave or do you know what those amounts are, or the wording? Dave, do you know what the amounts
Oh,
are?
you're asking me? Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. I don't know the wording, but I think you should be able to couch it so it'd be pretty explicit that, and are they gonna hold your feet to the fire if it's in an emergency, you don't get all the language correct? I
I
mean,
don't believe so.
yeah. I mean, you could do it subject to state law per, and council, any council amendment or something to that effect. I would imagine I'm not a lawyer, but I would try to do something more along those lines. I could do a quick look and
Well,
see.
we
what-
have. we
Okay,
have-
hey, I actually have it. It says, it's kind of long, but I have the thing that he sent us, Alan sent us for Wolf Tank.
Okay.
Let me see. There's some kind of letter here, and then it says district staff recommends that the board chair considers, well, I don't know. I thought I had it. It's talking about that, but let me see.
Well, does Tiffany know? I mean, do you
I'm
know?
gonna send this right now to Lisa. well, everybody else too, if you want, Lisa.
When was that date? Because then Tiffany, do you know when that date we did Wolf Tank?
Well, I mean, I got the email. I mean, that don't really matter as long as you're getting what they sent back, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's fine.
And no one remembers the amount, if it's over 15 or over 10.
It's actually, it is, if I remember right, it's variable. It depends, but when it's an absolute declaration of emergency, you could even go higher than that.
Well, yeah, I understand that. A declaration of emergency, you can go as high as you need to because it's an emergency. I'm just asking, without an emergency, without anything, what do we know what the amount is?
No, I don't know.
We don't
Buddy?
know. Do you
Okay,
have
Can
any
I get
idea?
that from Dollywall?
No, I just know from the past with the issues like this.
Well, I think we just need to do the declaration. and
Yeah, well,
not
hopefully
worry
what I
about
just
that
sent,
this time.
hopefully what I just sent you is the declaration. It looks like a long letter, but we would have to look at it and see. I know that considering the way the parts are and stuff, it's, you know, we've got to do it. So I'm sure nobody's going to have a problem with it, but it's just wording it right.
So 3 weeks out for the rig is ready, and then
Yeah.
how long will it take them to do this work?
1 day,
Okay,
because we can't shut the well off. Normally we would want it down for 2 days so we could video it the next day to find out if, you know, if there's more holes. But we don't feel like at this time we could have the well off for 2 days. So we're just going to try to video it at the end of the day on the first day and see if, I mean, well, a few hours later and try to video it and then have them put it back together.
Okay, I'm going to try to make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to move that we approve Bakersfield Well and Pump Company to do a well number 5 pump extension under emergency circumstances for approximately $13,651.40. It will be higher than this because we need to, but I don't know how much higher. Because
25 more feet.
we need 25 more feet. So background for this is that well 5 has too high of an amount of nitrates currently in the system. That just happened in June. We don't have a way of mitigating the nitrates other than also blending, but our first move is to try to extend where the pumping is coming from to try to blend cleaner water with the nitrate contaminated water. And so that is why we're doing this. Under normal circumstances, the district would be required under the public contract code to publicly bid the necessary repair work. However, the code authorizes the district to forego the public bidding process in the event of an emergency. The code defines an emergency as a sudden, unexpected occurrence that poses a clear and imminent danger, requiring immediate action to prevent or mitigate the loss or impairment of, among other things, essential public services. The district may repair or replace a public facility, take any directly related and immediate action required by that emergency, and procure the necessary equipment, services, and supplies for those purposes without giving notice for bids, select contracts. The current conditions of our well could not have been foreseen. The measurements taken in all of the other months preceding June did not have an nitrate level that exceeded the maximum amount for public safety. We currently, like I said, in June did 2 tests. The first one exceeded the amount, the second one exceeded the amount even more. So because of that, I'm making this motion. I'm going to recommend the board avail itself of its authority under the public contract code to deem that an emergency currently exists consistent with the definition I quoted, and in doing so, I'm asking that the board make such a finding. Each member must do so first before we vote on my motion. So we must find that there's substantial evidence that demonstrates that the emergency will not permit a delay resulting from a competitive solicitation for bids, and that the action is necessary to respond to the emergency. So we need a 4/5 vote of the board for this. And also, just as an addition to this, we cannot find another pumping company that will even take, that even has the heart or the ability to come out and do this in a timely manner. So if we do not make a decision this evening, we will not be able to get the parts ordered, and we're still about 3 weeks out from this. So at this time, I think we can discuss this if there's any issue, and then I'm going to suggest a roll call vote be taken so the record reflects the emergency determination, which would have to be 4/5 of the board, and if that is the determination, that we vote on my motion.
Okay, is there any comments from any board members?
Negative.
And after we take the vote on the
I'm not a
emergency,
board member. Can I
What's that?
comment?
Yes, you can make a comment, Mr. Warner. Do you want to make a comment?
Hello.
You're breaking up, Dave.
Yeah, I guess in addition to something that is a document for.
we can't
So-
understand
You're
you.
breaking
I emailed
up.
it to you. I emailed you just a picture of an emergency project CEQA documentation that just says emergency repairs to publicly or privately owned service facilities necessary to maintain service essential to the public health and safety or welfare. I just recommend you guys consider that also with this other recommendation that Lisa has filed. That could help you get some state or federal emergency grant funds to repair or replace the tank or the well.
Perfect. Thank you, Dave.
Okay.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's sent it, just a picture to three of you folks, to Johnny, Lisa's, and Brahma's email.
I don't have it so far.
I don't have
Okay.
it either.
Well, it would be a second consideration to recommend to basically adopt a notice of exemption based on that finding, that emergency project finding. So I apologize for interrupting. I just didn't want you to move to the next item. That's all.
We would need a notice of exemption to do a pump extension. We're inside the well.
Well, what you're declaring is like an emergency, and you could potentially use that emergency to get funding to help you folks. But that's the notice of exemption is.
That's great, but that's not number 4. So I think we would have to, I don't know. I don't know. We would have to add that to the agenda based on new information, I believe.
Would fall under 4, but not 4A. Or it's sort of 4A is more specific, but. A vote on remediation of high nitrate levels.
Okay,
Can I also throw one more thing out there? I apologize, but
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Is there a seconder? Because if there isn't a seconder, then it's gonna die. And
I'll second your motion.
okay, Director Kelling is
I'm
seconding
not
the
sure that
motion.
there's much more discussion to that.
well, the discussion is that before we do that, we have to vote on the emergency nature,
Okay.
declaration of an emergency.
Okay,
Well,
so,
I believe that there is an emergency.
okay, so at this time, we'll do a roll call for the declaration, the approval of a declaration of an emergency. So roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Affirmative.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
500, motion carried. Now,
So I would just say, additionally, maybe Tiffany can write up what I said from this and just make sure we don't have to say anything else per the attorney. But I think that for tonight's vote, which would just be to get the parks, would probably be enough.
okay, now we
That-
still have to do, well, we still have to do a motion on
The
Baker-
motion itself.
the
Yeah.
motion itself for Bakerswell to approve this quote with an additional additional 25 feet moving the bowl down. So we'll, at this time, we'll roll call on that motion. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
I
500. Okay, now at this time, did we want to add, due to additional information, add to the agenda?
I don't think we do actually. We can do it under 4. We just can't do it on the same motion that I just did. So
Right,
we there just isn't a B on 4, but it's still on there. So discussion vote on remediation of high nitrate levels. So I
Is that-
think I don't have the whatever Dave sent. How did you send it, Dave?
Through my phone, I took a picture of it by phone. So
I don't have an email from you. You didn't do a text? You did a email?
want me to do it as a text? I'll send it as.
Sure.
text.
Yeah, why don't you try it as a text? Because I have nothing from you.
Okay, bear with me. I apologize.
we also don't
Um,
have, go ahead, Director Ellis, General Manager.
Manager Allison. We could probably add this to the next agenda, but we also want to video the well when we pull it out. I don't even know, we don't know how effective it's going to be, but I suppose we could put that on the Thursday's meeting, and I'll try to come up with a price for what it costs to video it. So I guess you don't have to include that right now.
Okay,
We would have to add it to Thursday's meeting.
Agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just sent Tiffany a text asking her to add it on there.
The agenda's already gone out. I mean, the
Yeah.
agenda's already.
yeah, but due to additional information, new
Oh, boy, yeah.
information, we can add it to the agenda.
That's all right.
And what about the sand test?
He came up and did a sand test already. We don't know how accurate it is because we don't have a port on the side of the pipe like it needs to be. But that was just D came up too. We pulled a water bottle full of water to see. We didn't see a bunch of sand. The sand test didn't show any, but we still need to do the video to make sure there's no holes open, at the more shallow aquifer with it, the nitrates are coming in through.
Okay, so I'm just going to move that we are now changing the classification, or move that we change the classification of the well replacement project to emergency, and declare it exempt from the requirements of CEQA, which would say that projects to maintain, repair, restore, demolish, or replace property or facilities damaged or destroyed as a result of a disaster in a disaster-stricken area, which is not
I'm going by B.
this. B, okay, I'm sorry. Emergency repairs to publicly or privately owned service facilities necessary to maintain service essential to public health, safety, or welfare, specific actions necessary to prevent or mitigate an emergency. So right now it would be mitigating the issue of no water potentially and high nitrate levels, because whatever is, although we don't know, we need to videotape the inside of the well, but also to mitigate the high nitrate levels, which are a public health emergency.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Kelling is seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
5-0-0. Okay, now, so do we have to file something,
I
Dave?
think we need to talk to Lawrence to let him know that we've declared an emergency.
Yeah,
And
well, we have a meeting with him at 4 o'clock on Thursday.
I could draft up a notice, or we could draft up a notice of exemption for you folks.
Okay, thank you. That would be wonderful, Dave. And
Okay.
and you guys gonna be on that meeting at 4? Because we're gonna discuss the well with Lawrence on Thursday afternoon. We have a meeting with the state.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock.
I believe so. I'm sure Carlos is in on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. All right. Okay.
Can I ask
5.
one more question?
Sure. Go ahead, Director Gibson.
I didn't completely take in what has caused this nitrate thing, but I want to be able to explain it if community
Okay.
members ask me.
What caused it is somebody's septic system in the area, or multiple people's septic systems are leaking, and they're flowing down in the aquifer to our well that we've been trying to replace already. So it's intrusion from the septic systems, and also maybe caused by a hole in the casing, but we won't know that until we get a video of it. But the basic cause of it is leaky septic systems.
right, so
Wow.
the well is currently failing, so it potentially has leaks in it as well higher up, so that so that there's contaminants coming in that wouldn't normally come in.
And that's
So-
the hope. I mean, we don't know 100% sure, and we'll
Right,
find
so
out.
our hope is that if we're able to move the pumping lower, which is what we were just talking about with that vote, that we would be able to mix in some cleaner water with the contaminated water and hopefully lower the nitrate levels. And then because we're replacing the well, most likely we would try to do an even larger, deeper sanitary seal, because the sanitary seal is not currently deep enough to protect the water. It
I would like-
should have
I would-
it should have been, but it's not.
Now, I would like to add to that too.
Go ahead.
I'm also currently, I was working with D on a blending process. So even if it doesn't get all the way down by lowering the pump, I ordered the parts today to do a jumper line and valving. And so we could do a blending plan from well 6's water at well 5. So we have a couple of different ways we're trying to get it below the nitrate level. And the crew, we're going to install it, the stuff. I thought about having HPS or Unified come in, but I ordered all the parts, and we'll just install that jumper line and the valve and the meter and everything ourselves when it comes in.
Okay.
Right, but the biggest issue is that
Sounds
because
good.
of that well failing, we may do all of this and we may not be able to mitigate it well enough.
Yeah, which is why we're also hoping that this not hoping, but we're planning on this just getting us by until we replace the well and put the sanitary seal in like you were talking about, even if we have to set it at 200 feet.
Right.
Johnny, with the jumper line for mixing, would that still work for the new well?
We wouldn't need it for the new well unless we hit high nitrates again, which I'm planning on that not happening, but it would negate the need for that at that point.
Okay,
But if we had any other issues upon digging the new well, that would be a similar issue, like if the fluoride was too high or whatever, but hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, hopefully that, yeah, I don't want to,
okay. What
Jinx
I
this.
guess I'm trying to find out is this a one-time thing, or is it something you're going to install and we can use again?
well, I'm going to install it and we're going to see if it works. And if it works, then there's no reason to uninstall it necessarily, but the state is very specific about having different pressure zones. The town is split up in 7 pressure zones or 8. I'm drawing a blank right now. And all the pressure zones are supposed to remain separate. By doing it this way, we're effectively making all of them the same, or at least most of them the same pressure zone.
Okay,
And so we wouldn't always want to do that
okay,
unless we saw a need for it.
okay.
So this is different, Johnny, than a blending station. A blending station wouldn't necessarily do that.
No, it's basically going to be the same thing. And I guess it would put 2 pressure zones together is what it would effectively do. But yeah, it's going to basically be the way the tank was designed with the mixing hatch on the top. And like well 5 was designed for fluorides. But if we make it a permanent mixing station, we would have to, like with the new building, we would add extra electronics and extra monitoring equipment to that.
Okay. All right, on to number 5. Discussion vote on changing the water conservation level.
Okay, now with this, it's a very extreme move. Both Dee and Jesse Dollywall at the state recommend that we do enact it. No outside watering. We would have to put a exclusion in that for the nursery to still be able to water their plants so they don't effectively get put out of business, and probably the same thing for ACE with their plants, with their nursery.
And what
So
about
you-
the car wash?
Well, the car wash, I think that would just have to do without. I mean, I don't know. I would have to check with Alan.
There's a lot of issues to this. So the very first thing that I would recommend is that we not vote on it tonight, because I went through the water conservation plan, which is on the next agenda item, and it is sorely in need of being revised. It has many issues. So I
Well, of
think
course,
until we revise the water conservation plan, which states the penalties and everything for, until we go back over that there may be a problem changing the water conservation level at this time.
what I would like to recommend is, I don't know which copy this is, but I changed a bunch of stuff. Let me see. Yeah, see, there's a revised one out where I changed the water supply that I had to send to Jesse. I revised the water supply stuff. I can send it to you again, but anyway, what I'm saying is, I think a good course of action would be approve it and give me the option of if I need it, because if at some point we start falling drastically low, we get bad water leaks, and I got to initiate that, it's a lot quicker process, but we wouldn't put it into effect immediately. It would just be available while we're revising, because I'll send you the copy that I sent to Jesse Dollywall that's got the revisions on it.
Okay, what is our current water conservation level?
We're stage 2 alert stage, and that allows watering outdoors 2 days a week and washing your cars with a shut off on the end, so you're not running water down the street, and those measures. Stage 3 emergency stage is a lot stricter. Yeah, Jesse Dollywall required that I send him the water conservation stuff as well.
And I would like to think about some wording that allows very minimal watering, not complete landscape watering, but allows minimal watering, because we're in a drought. I'm worried about fire danger. So if we have a bunch of stuff drying out right alongside houses, that may be a problem too.
Well, I kind of talked about that to Jesse, but part of the problem is the only reason you're going to go to the emergency stage if it's really seriously critical. And if it's critical and something's going to die next to your house, you pull the plant out to keep your house from burning down if it dies. But a lot of shrubs and trees still remain. Trying to write a whole nother stage and pass all of that and the whole conservation plan and adding that stage, and then it's totally subjective. Well, one person thinks is minimal, where they take a pitcher out and they water their little bush. Somebody else is going to be watering their North 40 and saying that that's minimal because it's a third of what they normally use. So it's kind of risky going there. I say hold off as long as we can, but we've got to have the plan in place in case something really bad happens. Because I mean, I got to tell you, it was really, really grim over the last 3 days with the water supply. We were down to only 2 feet of water in multiple tanks by the time I could turn the well back on.
That's without well 5.
Yeah, but even with well 5, it took 3 days to get it to catch up. So I mean, in essence, we couldn't provide water for fire to the fire department for all them days, except for I called the fire department and I offered them nitrate water from well 5. If they had to fill up, that's where they would do it, and I would be pumping water to that hydrant. Even with well 5, my concern and the reason I want to be ready is I realize, say a big hole does rupture in the side of well 5, and it's a, you know, we have to shut well 5 off again, or the nitrates continue to increase. When I take another test tomorrow and I get the results back on Friday, if they've increased even more, then we got to think about other avenues of what we're going to do. So we have to have it in place to where we can enact the the emergency stage conservation.
But we can enact it by declaring an emergency.
Yeah, but that would require getting all of the board members available for an emergency meeting.
I don't believe it does. I was reading, I mean, that's why I think we need to go over the water conservation plan.
I agree.
All right. Well, I agree we need to do that. I was just hoping that for a vote of confidence, yeah, Johnny ain't going to do this haphazardly, but it's available in case something really bad happens and he could go ahead and enact it and pass out notices. That's all I was hoping for. We need to go over the conservation plan for sure.
I believe it already says that in the water conservation plan.
Okay, well, perfect. That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too, but I was told by a couple of board members, they thought maybe we had to look into that. So I just wanted to make sure.
The reason I'm saying that is what we definitely need. There are many problems with this plan, so I'm a little worried about re-voting on something. But in here somewhere, I just want to try to find the wording. It does say that sorry, I'll need to find it. I should have circled it.
I think it's in the
And I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead, Director Gibson.
I mean, even if we do go to a different stage or the stage that we're in right now, with everything that our workers have going on, how are we possibly going to police this?
Well, we just got to. We just have no choice. We need to actually be proactive, and if you see somebody, and believe me, when people are doing that, they call the water company and they complain. If we get into that stage, we just have to be very strict with enforcing it. The last thing I want to do is enact this stage. I just want to have the tool in the tool belt.
Yeah.
You know, I have some fruit trees I don't want to die, but you know, we have to have it in the toolkit in case it gets that extreme.
Well, and can we have something go to the paper about people needing to conserve because of water shortages and the drought? Again? Because I don't think people even realize the severity of our droughts right now, because it's just been ongoing and we've never changed it, so people just kind of ignore it.
Yeah, I could ask her to run something, but I also know that half the people in town don't read the newspaper, or at least they claim they never see it. So we would also have to have somebody put it on social media and ask people to conserve. But I'm pretty sure most of them know already, but they just choose not to care.
Well,
Right,
But don't we have to wait? I'm sorry.
it does say just in stage 1 that you can alert, and work with the public to try to conserve water.
Well, I think that if you were to check with legal, I think that in an extreme water emergency where we're going to run out of water in the town. See, let me point out this point too. If we don't have this in our tool chest, we just issued notices saying don't boil water because of nitrates, because it increases the concentration of the nitrates. So now if we have a water emergency where we lose water going to houses, now we have to issue boil notices. So now you're telling everybody, boil the water, but the other notice says don't boil the water. So that's the part that's got me a little concerned right now,
Mhm.
to where we want to make sure that everybody's going to conserve water so we don't get in that position. That's a real catch-22 situation right there.
Well, I think maybe something needs to be put on maybe the bulletin board, crafted and put on the bulletin board, something, for the paper
Yeah.
about conservation or something like that. Maybe you can work with Jerry on that, because Jerry's our social media guy.
Yeah, so me and Tiffy could write it and then we'll give it to Jerry to post it.
Yeah.
Or Tiffany can post it actually, because, well, yeah, you said that we designated a media guy, so Jerry could post it on the bulletin board. Yeah.
Don't we have an obligation to, if we go to stage 3, to do a mailing that we are going to stage 3? Is there an obligation about that?
I'm sure that we would do that anyway, but initially we could just try to get the word out really fast. that we're
Right,
in that
okay, yeah, I
stage,
get
but-
that.
It doesn't say that in our conservation plan, but like I said, I have some huge problems with our conservation plan.
Did you
However,
look at the new one I just sent you? It's at
no.
least got some,
Oh, it would have
some
been nice
changes.
to have a printout of it.
Well, I
Um,
mean, this has been all a mad rush trying to get to the point that we're all at now. It's been a all day, every day into the evening thing. So it's
Trying to look at it
Mhm.
on my phone. Um,
all I changed was the water supplies, the water tanks, the things that have changed since 2014 when this was written. I changed those so I could send it over to Jesse.
okay. Well, that's probably half of what I have an issue with,
That's what I
So-
figured.
if not a little
Oh,
more.
and the residential and customer service charges, I changed that as well.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so much that's wrong in here. Basically for stage 3 emergency stage, it says Fraser Park PUD would declare a drought and water shortage emergency and use media relations to supplement efforts to keep customers informed.
So we would notify the newspaper and have Logan drive around the town with the PA announcing that we're in a water emergency to conserve
Would
water.
inform customers of prohibited water uses. The non-essential uses that were listed in stage 1 are now prohibited. The big issue is that it levies fines, and they're fairly hefty fines. So the only thing is that, if you fine one person and they're doing it, and I just think it's going to get very
Messy.
yeah.
Yeah, but how do you think, it's going to also get exactly that if all of a sudden people go to turn their water on and we got no water in half the town. It's going to be terrible that way too. So, I don't want to do it. I'm on the front line, but,
Well, the
The-
first stage, the first violation says it's in writing. It's a warning.
yeah.
The second one is where it's a $200 fine.
Where the stage we're in right now, it's $100 fine.
No, this is for the stage 3.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I was giving a comparison. Stage 2 is $100 fine. Stage 3 is a $200 fine.
Right.
Right, but stage 3 is, right now, the $100 fine, people totally get that. It's like somebody's like wasting water, running it down the street or whatever. They expect to get fined. Somebody goes out with somebody's neighbor doesn't like them. Somebody goes out with a little thing in waters their, rows in front of their house with some kind of watering pot, and their neighbor calls on them, and we have to warn them, and then they go do it again and they get a 200. I think it could get really weird. I'm just saying, we
See,
have
and this is
neighbors
top.
I'm just saying, we already have neighbors calling on neighbors for stuff that may or may not be exactly what's happening.
And that's
So,
why it'd be up to me to get there. And it's like my dad, he waters out of a bucket that he dumps his washer water in. So he's going to be walking around with a watering can outside.
Yeah.
So it would be a
Gray
matter
water
of,
from doing you're doing your laundry and
it would be a matter of showing up and in bed, seeing what I think, and then using common sense on whether or not you do it. But one thing that was brought up today in a meeting with Dee is if something really bad happened and we really needed the state, the state already recommended that we increase the water conservation level. If we don't do that, and then we need help from the state, they're going to say, well, you didn't do everything you could to protect the supply you got. So that's where the difficulty comes in, trying to be nice and fair and also following what we need to do because that they're telling us to do them.
right, but you could also implement every other thing which would drastically cut the water use as well, but not necessarily implement like turning like the car wash not functioning. I mean, which is a business that could go down. There's, so I don't know. I mean, I just think we
Well,
need to think about it.
You could make like I said, you could make a caveat, or you could make an exception for the nurseries, which includes Ace Hardware and the car wash, but nobody else, because that at least is
well, isn't the
better
car
than running water down the,
recycled? Doesn't the car wash recycle its water?
No, it was the last car wash in California to receive a permit for non-recycled water.
If I might just wade in with some thoughts, I think what Johnny is asking for here is, and I certainly appreciate the situation. We were just about out of water. I mean, when you have a situation like that, you got to make some drastic moves really quickly. And I'm thinking that maybe a provision of, a phone call to at least 3 of the directors and getting concurrence, something like that. When you
Can't do
get
that. That's a serial meeting.
when you get in a real jam, you really have to do some things really quickly, because if we had run out of water, we would have been in really, really bad shape from a lot of, not only from water quality, but from just water supply. People would not have running water, tap water. So, I'm thinking there may be a way to give Johnny enough authority with concurrence of a majority of the board, maybe by telephone, that, he would be able to make some decisions, regarding some water uses that would need to either be shut off or could stay in service at, with a limited amount of water. But those kind of things, you kind of have to do on the ground right away in order to just keep the system up, just keep water in the lines. And that's where we were a couple of days ago. It really took some effort on behalf of the staff, in order to keep this thing, afloat. So I think that's the situation you're talking about, right, Johnny? That those sort of things were really an entire emergency.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And so it's not a serial meeting. I could also, we just pick 2 people that I would go to and say, look, we just ran out of water at McGee. We're going to run out more. We got to enact this. And then those 2 board members saying, yes, I agree. And then we do it.
That wording just needs to happen in the conservation plan, and it's not there. So
I actually think that in a real emergency like that, I have it, even if we didn't have a conservation plan, as the manager and you guys as board members, we could enact no outside watering for a state of emergency, regardless of what the plan says.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but
Yeah.
it should say in the plan how that gets enacted. If it's not being enacted immediately, then it should say it's enacted.
Yeah, but can't we add that after the fact? So where we were just fine for now to get through until people have a chance to revisit the whole conservation plan?
I think it needs to be revisited and voted on like Thursday. I think it has to fixes it. I,
All right.
I mean, you've already fixed a majority of the fixes, most likely, so it needs some additional wording though, that really spells out how stuff gets enacted, because right now, it doesn't say by vote, it doesn't say by majority vote, it doesn't say anything, it just says declared by FPPUD. Well, how does that happen? Is it that you declare it? Is it that you and two people declare it? Is it, how is it?
No, a declaration is the board saying we got a water emergency. That's the first step. And the state of California just put us in the extreme drought stage. So everybody knows that things are coming down the pike because of all the things that are doing it. So we do have to revise it. But if the board just says, yes, it's an emergency declaration that we're in we have potential water shortage, or we have had water shortage, so we need to enact this. Like I said, you could do it without the conservation plan. We will add that in there, obviously, because we have one. But saying don't water outside to keep everybody in water is just a common sense thing that a manager would do if we start running out of water.
Right, but what I'm saying is in here, all you need to do is change a small amount of wording, because it says Fraser Park PUD would declare a drought and water shortage emergency and use media relations to supplement efforts to keep customers informed.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll work with you, and we'll add that wording, or work with somebody. We'll add that wording.
I mean, that's just what I'm suggesting, because then it gets sent to Jesse Dollywall, and it's very clear that at the point of emergency that we just declare it and how it's declared.
I think when I said this to Jesse, I think he just wants us to right now enact the water conservation thing. So I don't think he has the authority to tell us what to do, but he said, in my recommendation, you need to enact more strict water conservation, no outside watering, is what he's actually told me that a couple of times in the last couple of days.
Right, but it's not spelled out well here. Like, it's not spelled out the business stuff. It needs to be spelled out. So I'm just saying, or, I mean, you guys can try to do it as a resolution. I mean, as a motion, but I have some misgivings about it not being spelled out well.
All right. Well, does anybody have time to work on this before Thursday? Because that's another big thing.
Excuse me, folks. This is Joan from Lake of the Woods. Can I offer you some information that we found from having the no outside watering policy?
That'd be great, Joan.
Okay, so we did statistics as to how much our well production was going over many years, and the difference between, it's a combination of the no outside watering policy and some improvements we made to some of our leaking water lines. And from before the no outside watering to now, we have seen a 51% less use of water.
One other thing I'd like to just bring up for us to think about is, I believe if we declare an emergency, that may affect everything we're doing on the planning portion of and we need to make sure that it doesn't, or that if it does, that there's some way of, because it basically, if we're in a water emergency, it means we cannot move forward with anything with Lake of the Woods, because we are not going to be able to supply water.
I got an email today from the state stating that we are in an area. It was reminding people that you could be forced to consolidate with neighboring communities, and we got that because we're one of the communities that are listed with most of that criteria. The thing is, that wouldn't stop the Lake of the Woods process. Is in 4 months, God willing, we're going to have not only a proven test well, but we're also going to have well 5 replaced, and we won't have a water shortage problem. This is just a temporary thing due to high nitrates. It's not that the water isn't in the ground. It's just that we got high nitrates and we got an old well. So if the old well fails, then we're going to have a water shortage. If we don't fail, then we're good.
You're optimistic about having those wells by the end of summer.
Well, I mean, we got to push for that, and we're supposed to have funding by the end of this, or we're supposed to have the letter of approval for funding by the end of this month. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot more expensive than it was initially. It's probably going to be a $1.5 million well at least because the cost of everything going up. But I mean, that's the game plan.
In my personal opinion, even though Jesse said to go ahead and move forward with this, I personally think that we should talk about doing whatever vote we're going to do on Thursday. If we were to lose everything tomorrow, I believe that you would be able to declare what you needed to declare if we had to, and then we would have to, I believe. I mean, what would happen if you did that? It's not even stated correctly in our conservation plan.
Why?
I would probably be thanked for making a very prudent decision in a terrible situation.
Right. So
Okay, go ahead.
the reason I'm saying that is I really think we have to have a couple conversations. One conversation is with our attorney as far as businesses are concerned, and any kind of litigation that could happen. If I don't think so, but it's possible. And then the second one, and so we would have to have some sort of wording in the conservation plan or in the motion or whatever we're going to do that's spelled out really well, that would, like you said, allows a couple of businesses to move forward. The second thing would be that we would need to talk to Lawrence, I believe, and just make sure that it's not affecting anything, and or if we could push forward as an with the well being declared an emergency.
Well, even if it did affect the Lake of the Woods project, I mean, at this point, we're just concerned with the next till we get the well in. I mean, that's the priority, regardless of whether or not it affects the Lake of the Woods project. It's our priority as Fraser Park Public Utility. I mean, we don't want it to affect the project, but once we get a new well, it won't affect the project. But talking to Lawrence is kind of neither here nor there, because we're just trying to look out for the next short term while we're finding a solution to our issue that we got. And Lake of the Woods wasn't sued when they cut everybody off and everybody's yards died.
Well, most of Fraser Park's yards have already died, so I don't really, think that but I think that I don't know what they did. Did Lake of the Woods, Joan, did you have a provision that the nursery was able to water however much they wanted, or how did you word that?
Pam, can you answer that?
I wasn't here when they first implemented that, but they allowed the businesses to continue doing, the nursery was already in existence, so they were grandfather claused in. Couldn't you do the exemptions like Johnny said with the businesses and then postpone fining anyone? Because if you just are worried about the wording of the fines, you will get immediate relief by people just conserving, I think, just by saying, listen, we're in a state of emergency. And
I agree.
in the future.
Great idea.
That's what you're worried about. Sorry, that's.
I think we need to separate the two things out. I think, yes, on Thursday or the next meeting next month, we need to go through the conservation plan, with a fine tooth comb, because I found some issues with it as well. But as an emergency, as of right now, as of today, I don't know why we can't make a motion that we declare this an emergency and we have to go to the next step. And we can put in the motion that we're going to exempt the resident or the businesses.
I agree, but I would also like to point out that some of the things you may find in this conservation plan came directly from the state, the template, and it was approved by the state and our attorney at the time. So the only thing that's really changed is some of the data on what the water costs, how many tanks we got, how many springs we got, wells we got. So I changed that stuff, but the rest of the plan has already been approved by the attorney. And if we start changing a lot of that, then we get outside what was initially put out there for everybody in the last drought.
Yeah, except it was approved by the attorney without those exemptions, so I think it wasn't really, whatever.
No, it
I'm
wasn't. No, I
I'm
think the
gonna abstain.
exemptions,
You guys vote on whatever you'd like to vote on. I have some apprehensions.
I think that the changes with the exemptions will, obviously, we will send him to Alan Dow to get his approval on those. I agree with adding stuff to change that. I'm just saying there can't be that much wrong with the conservation plan is all I was saying. Because it's already been reviewed by everybody. Now we just have to change it to our current situation.
Was this done after the fluoride issue?
We didn't have a fluoride issue, Terry.
Oh, okay.
We had a well that was right below the legal limit. We were going to blend it, but it was never an issue like this. The fluoride wouldn't even be an issue right now. We would still be pumping fluoride and we'd be great. But we have a failing well, so that's the issue.
Right.
So we need to go through the plan. We need to ask Alan, I'll send Alan an email asking him about the exemptions for the businesses. And then if anybody's got time to help me work on the conservation plan by Thursday, then we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll have to put it at the meeting after that. But still somebody that's concerned about changes in it needs to work with me so we can make those changes before the next meeting.
I'll work with you tomorrow, but I think we need 2 board members.
Let's see tomorrow.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Lisa?
I said I'll work with Johnny tomorrow, but I believe we should have 2 board members.
Yeah, that works out good. Tomorrow is a good day for that.
I can help you tomorrow, unless Terry wants to do it because she had some changes. I read the plan too. I just can't be at the meeting on Thursday.
I
Lucky
work
you.
in the morning. I wouldn't be back up here until 3.
Well, we can do it at 3 then. And if I sent everybody the revisions that I'd already made, so we could go off of that copy and then see what's left that we have to change.
Let me see if I can do it at 3. Hold on. I know I had something in the afternoon. I just didn't have anything. Hold on a second.
Really quick, while she's looking over that, I wanted to offer a suggestion that if there are a few different items that we need discussed on Thursday, that we actually add a special meeting after the regular meeting because there'll be just too many additions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we already got a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. So I move that we add a special meeting. It's not going to cost the public any more. So I move that we add a special meeting to happen directly after the regular meeting, and then this in particular be put on the agenda and whatever else needs to be there.
I'll second
I'll
that.
second that.
You're muted, Brahma. You're muted.
I'll be glad when we go back to in-person meetings. Okay, roll call of directors. Director Kelling has seconded that. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
5-0-0 motion carried. So
And we
now,
the only
now-
thing
go ahead,
sorry.
Director
the only
Schoenberg.
thing
Go
I
ahead.
have, Johnny, is the meeting with Lawrence at 11. So we can work at 3 with Terry, and I'll start looking. Maybe I can start looking at it with you after the meeting with Lawrence.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's good.
You have a meeting with the Lawrence at 11?
That's what. Oh no, it's at 4. I'm sorry. Why?
That's
do I
at
have-
4 on, that's at 4 on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, that's the old meeting. Okay, so that's not even happening. So yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta get rid of that. Okay, so
You're confusing me. Don't
yeah,
confuse
that's
me.
my fault because it was I had the old one down as well, and then the new one at 4. So okay, so yeah, I can work with you before that, Johnny. So we can just start like go over the other stuff that are just specs and things and make sure that all that's changed? Cause and any
Okay, so
typos.
I entertain a motion from either Director Garcia or Director
Sorry.
Kelling to have an ad hoc committee to work on the conservation plan of Lisa Schoenberg and Director Gibson.
I think it's gonna be Director Kelling, right? That's why
Yeah.
you're doing it at 3?
Yeah, it's Director Kelling since
Oh,
she
it's
had,
Director Kelling?
right, because she already had some concerns
Okay.
that she.
So
I will make a motion that we have an ad hoc committee to go over the water conservation plan and update it, and to consist of Director Schoenberg and Director Kelling.
Okay,
Okay.
I hate to do this, you guys. You're gonna
What?
hate me, but actually, we need to do that on the next agenda item because this was the water conservation level. Well, can we just blend the two of them together?
yes.
Okay, because I think we've moved on. So are we? We're not going to do a vote on the water conservation level till Thursday at
Correct.
the special meeting. Okay, so then we can move on to yeah. So we can do this. Sorry.
Okay, Director Garcia, you want to second that?
I second that.
Okay. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Abstain.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Abstain.
Okay, that's 3 ayes and 2 abstentions. Motion carried. Okay, 7, discussion vote on hauling water.
Okay, I'm hoping that we don't have to haul water again, but like I stated earlier, it cost $2,700 for what we did haul. Jessica was very gracious in selling it to us. I'm sure she's going to give us a fair price. I will find out what that invoice is and I'll include it on another board meeting so we could discuss that. And I'm just happy we got the water before her well failed. It's selfish of me, but
Johnny, it's weird, but again, item 7 is hauling water and item 8 is purchasing water. So
okay, well,
They're the same
okay,
discussion.
okay, so I don't know how to separate the two agenda items.
So I'd like to move that we combine 7 and 8 because they basically, we aren't going to be able to purchase bulk water without hauling water or vice versa. So I
Okay, do I hear a second?
find them.
I second that.
All right, roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion 500 carried. Okay, we can talk about it now.
So initially, the water hauler, they used to work for RMR that hauled for Lake of the Woods. One of his employees left and started his own business. He's doing good. So initially, the quote was higher. I think it started at 150, but definitely 125 an hour for the trucks. And then we pay the water company, Lebec, or whoever we get it from, whatever they charge. But then after talking to him, he says, I'm not really out here to gouge you, so I'm going to go ahead and lower it to $100 an hour per truck to haul water for you. I talked to him when he was hauling before, when we sold Lake of the Woods water, and he was gracious enough to come down on his pricing on it. So I recommend using him in the future. I called RMR. They weren't available when we needed them. This guy came out and made an exception and ran all weekend. So I like using it. It's called Sooner Trucking or Sooner Water Hauling.
I thought that the last time when we were hauling water to Lake of the Woods, I thought it was much more expensive than what you paid this weekend.
Yeah, but they had probably more trucks running. And I was only running the 2 trucks because I was just waiting until we could pass out all them notices so we could turn well 5 back on. But yeah, so it's not that bad. It's $2,700 and then whatever Jessica charges us, which, like I said, I'm sure is going to be fair. I don't know how many loads that was. It's in here somewhere. But regardless of what it is, they got us through the time crunch.
2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
2 trucks on
That's what you
Saturday.
said earlier.
No, they ran all day Saturday. That was 9 loads, I
Ah.
believe. 2 trucks, and then on Sunday it was only 1 truck. I don't see lost my notes here.
You don't know how many, how many loads each truck made.
No, I'm telling you how many loads. On the first day they made 9. It's in the invoice. But let me see. Hang on a minute. Just one more second.
While he's waiting, it's good to see you, short timer Dave.
Yeah, what do you got, a month left?
We're gonna miss you.
Well, gee, it sounds like things are getting real exciting.
Yeah, just when you start to leave, everything is going nuts.
Yeah, but
I'll be
Okay.
calling you off books.
I was gonna say, can we
Okay.
put you on payroll?
Okay,
I do.
so we
Go ahead,
got 9 hours of 2 trucks running, and the next day was 9 hours of 1 truck running. So it adds up to 27 loads for $2,700.
Okay, was that 27 loads, or they just ran 9? I mean, they ran 9 hours, so it's like however many. It might have taken them longer. Maybe we didn't run so many loads.
On the invoice, it says how many, but they only bill by the hour. Oh no, 27 hours is what they ran total. So yeah, 27 hours divided between those trucks. It was very reasonably priced.
$1 an hour.
Right. But I'm saying so because if they're, okay.
Thank you.
All right. Can you get us an update on what it totally cost us from, we need to know what it cost us for that entire amount.
Yeah, well, when you approve the invoice for Lake of the Woods or for Lebec, we'll have it. When we go to pay them, you'll see the invoice.
Right, but how can I can't vote on purchasing bulk water just to say a blanket purchase. We need to know what the cost is going to be. Is it going to cost us a nickel a gallon or?
Okay, well, what this was just you guys needed to, after the fact, because it was a water emergency, approve that we did it. Because anytime you're almost out of water, it's not a board decision. I have to just go ahead and order it. So this is just an after the fact. Yeah, you did the right thing. We're going to pay the bill. That's what I was told at the time, that we needed the water, didn't have time to ask the board.
Right. I don't even think this should just be an after the fact. I think this should be, I beg to differ with you, Director Nyman. I think that we should allow Johnny with this motion.
I'm not saying that I don't allow him or that, but I also think that now that we have this situation going on, we need to be apprised of what it's going to be costing us. If we have to do it, we're going to have to do it. But as a board, we need to know how much it's going to cost us.
So
I'm
you also have to, but you have to also understand that, like today, if we needed water, Lake Lebec is out of water because they have a well down. So basically, it's just I have to be able to order the water and pay whatever they want, whether it's Lebec, Krista, or Gorman, or Pine Mountain Club, or Pinyon Pines. We can't really approve a preset amount because we don't have an agreement for all that water. I'm going to take water from wherever I can get it. All we have to do is approve really of what I already did. Like, you did a good job. Let's do it again. And we'll see how much it costs when the invoice comes in from Lebec.
Now, I know on our website and in all of our stuff, we have a set price what we charge for bulk water.
Yeah, and they will too, yeah.
And wouldn't the other places have that?
Yeah, they'll have their set amount, and every water company is going to have a different amount. Our amount that we charge Lake of the Woods was less than we would sell to a contractor. The contractor coming in to buy water is going to pay one amount. a neighboring water system that needs our help, we were just breaking even. We didn't care about, we're not going to make money. We're just going to break even on that amount. So we sold them the water for as long as we could. So every water system is going to have their own amount for what they're going
Breakdown.
to charge us. Yeah, their own breakdown on how they charge people. Not everybody is going to be, well, it's my neighbor, I'm going to sell him water. It's going to be, well, this is what it costs to any contractor, and that's what it costs. So, but yeah, I think we came out good. Jessica is a really nice lady, and Rebecca, I'm sure, is not going to gouge us, and she came through in a pinch. So
I move we approve the $2,700 bill for hauling water.
But it's gonna be more than that. Because we don't know how much we're paying for the actual water. That was just the time for the trucks and the personnel to drive.
We'll vote on, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's
Yeah,
pay
when
for
we
the
get the
hauling now.
yeah, when we get the invoice that we don't have, we'll address that.
But you guys, wouldn't we just move this on our financials? Don't we want a more blanket motion that we're allowing Johnny to, just so he doesn't feel like he has to call a couple of us and get approval if it's an emergency?
Correct, I think so.
Right. So I don't
Then why
think
is
we
it
need
on
to
the-
worry. I don't think we need to worry about approving the actual amount right now. That would be in our finances on our bill when we get the bill. I think that, because we're either going to
It's
pay it on
already done. We're gonna have to pay it anyway, so.
Right.
right. So why don't we make a motion that, allows Johnny to be able to use the water company he was talking about to haul it and to, get water from whatever resource he can get it from, because we're not going to be able to name hopefully it's going to be one of the companies up here that's going to not cost us as
Okay,
much.
so make the motion.
Well, I make lots of motions. Why don't you, since you were already making the motion, why don't you make the motion? I'm just saying that the motion you're making is not all that encompassing. You want me to do it? You can't do it?
I'll move that we give Johnny permission on an emergency basis only. The go ahead to haul and purchase bulk water from
Whatever source.
from a source that we can obtain the water for. And it may be multiple, because not necessarily will one source have the
All you have
water.
to say is whatever water source
Whatever water source.
available. Joe, I hear a second.
I'll second it.
Director Gibson has seconded. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0-0. Okay, discussion, any any future agenda items?
Just the agenda items for the special meeting. So definitely the water conservation plan and also the declaration of which I guess would be in there, but maybe we need it as a separate item as well. The emergency declaration.
Water conservation plan. I have videoing the well. I put the quote for the bulk water from Lebec if we want to talk about what the price was.
Okay,
And then what was the final one, Lisa? The declaration, what is it?
The emergency declaration, emergency alert declaration.
Changing the status to emergency?
Yeah.
And I had a notice of exemption. I emailed Johnny, Tiffany, Lisa, and Brahma.
Right, so we did a motion on that, but we would want to talk about that some more. And also, We need to be able to go over what we talked to Lawrence about, although I think that may be on the planning agenda. But if we may need to have additional information about changing that well to an emergency project.
You're talking about the already emergency well 5 placement?
It's not an emergency right now. Right now, well 5 to well 7 replacement, which is not called that. It's called that long name I can't
Yes.
remember. Is not currently an emergency project. It's currently a project that's with the state, and it's supposed to have a funding agreement at the end of this month, but it's not currently deemed an emergency. But because of all of what's going on, it may be able to be deemed an emergency.
Okay.
That's something we would need to talk to Lawrence about, and Lawrence would need to talk to whoever he talks to about it.
Okay.
So we have a meeting with Lawrence at 4 p.m. So I just want to make sure we're able to talk about, even though that's like the state meeting, that it's on the agenda probably for the special meeting as well.
Okay, if that's it, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Director Gibson is seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. We're adjourned at 7:28 p.m. Thank you,
Dave,
everybody.
and Thank you, Dee.
Okay, bye.
Good luck, guys.